September, Monday night, time for the Jamaica Selectboard meeting. Call to order. The first order of business is to ask if there are any additions to the agenda. If somebody has an agenda item that they'd like to add, we can add to the agenda. Do I hear anything?
I just want to, at the end, which we won't have a decision on, just to go into executive session personnel issues.
We can
We'll
do
do that at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I would like to discuss that one email that we got concerning maximizing fiduciary transparency. I'm not clear about that whole thing.
Okay. Let's see. Is that in front of you? Right, do you have your copy?
Yes.
Oh, good.
The
Okay.
one you wrote,
Sure.
yes.
Okay. So we're going to, something to do with, that was having to do specifically, how do you want to phrase that?
Let's see how you did it. Well, I guess fiduciary transparency, to question that, because it has limits here of what we have to work on in terms of getting
All right, so,
either phone by phone call numbers and things from $500.
oh, you're talking about the purchase policy.
Yeah, I guess that's what it's
That's
called.
what, yeah, that's what that's, well, that's what, okay. So we will, we're gonna stick that in right after, let's see, between, it shouldn't take too terribly long. Let's go ahead and put it after number 11.5, purchase policy. Alrighty, any other additions? Alrighty, hearing none, let's move on. I think the second, number 2, is approve the minutes of the August 22nd and 17th select board. Let's take a look at the August 22nd. Is there any additions, deletions, changes? I've got a couple of really tiny ones.
I just
Okay,
saw
we
one
can
that
do it
was
next
a
time.
typographical error.
No, that's fine, we can do it next time.
Sure. Do you want to wait?
No, we just,
You don't have the 17th?
the 17 minutes aren't in here,
Oh,
so
you
we'll
have the
have to,
17th?
we'll
That-
have
these.
to,
Oh, yeah, I never
Are you-
got those.
You're doing the 22nd or the?
so let's,
Wait,
let's.
let's do the 22nd.
Second first,
We'll
and
deal
then
with
we'll
this,
table
yeah,
those, yeah.
we'll add that to the problem.
Which
All
one
right.
are we doing now?
22nd.
Okay.
22nd, which we want the last meeting.
Mine is on, I guess, the second page. It is just really typographical. Second line in State Park Bridge. And T is missing and an extra B.
Yep,
No big deal.
okay.
I've got one other little minor one.
Mm-hmm.
When we're talking about the injured animals,
Into the
Page
paragraph,
one.
which one?
yeah,
Where?
it's the first big paragraph, renew the discussion of the town policy regarding
Oh, okay.
paying injured animals. It says, he also learned that if the town were to euthanize an animal, we should add within the first 5 days.
Within the first 5 days?
Right, because the policy of the Humane Society is to give the owners 5 days to claim their animal.
Okay.
So after that, we can authorize, I think, a euthanization without any problem.
Okay. Any others? I have one on the second page, paragraph, time for public concerns. Joel Katz, and I wonder why those were directing Joel's and nobody else. We have Joel Katz asked for an update, I'm guessing that probably we could skip the second update.
Yeah,
It looks like just a typo. We get two
Oh, yeah.
updates.
Yeah.
Yeah, unless you were stuttering.
We gave him a double, we gave him a double.
I
Update on the transfer station.
Swap shop.
She just put an
Update for
update.
an
Swap
update.
shop.
Swap shop, sorry.
An update on the update.
An update on the update. And then the
Yeah.
last one I have is on the last paragraph, in the first paragraph, last page. I believe Brusso was clarified, sorry again. Second line, and excessive speeding on Turkey Mountain Road, Lou Brusso clarified that they are allowed on town I think you meant trails.
Trails, yeah, not trials.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, fix that.
But if we have a trial, they are allowed.
Right.
Apparently.
I think I was leaving for vacation when I wrote the speed test.
Listen, those are pretty minor. The only one that's really got, the one about the 5 days, that was
Yeah.
something that's significant. Any other questions? Deletions? And hearing none, I'll accept the motion to
Motion
accept.
to accept.
Do I hear a second? I have a second. Any, all opposed, say nay. All in favor, say yea.
Yay.
Yay. All right, they pass. Moving on to the next item. I had put in,
We have to do this, the 17th,
yeah, I have, that's what I'm moving on to.
but we don't have them here.
Yeah, that's, I hear that now. They're not still in your book from last week.
No, I just checked.
No, I don't have
couldn't
it.
find it.
All right, I made a mistake on the 17th when I didn't think we did have them and everybody else did. And so I added them this week, so we still have it clear. These are only the notes taken for the night of the Castle Bridge bid tabulation.
Right. I thought that's what.
And the only thing was we had, it said minutes of August 18th, but it should be 17th. But aside from that, we're never going on vacation again.
Good.
But we can do that next week. I can pass these around if you want to look forward. Literally all this is the bid tab. 'Cause that's all we did that night. Your pleasure.
Yeah, I think I'd make a copy for everybody and just put them in next time.
Sure, can do. Okay, defer that to next week. All righty then, the next item on the agenda is the approved timesheets. We'll do that at the end of the session. We will sign the select board orders. The next item is a letter from Karen Ameden, email actually, offering to take the cemetery sexton position. We have one sexton's position open, and I believe it's the cemetery on Maui.
So it's called the South Hill Cemetery.
It's called the
Is it
South
the
Hill
only one that's
Cemetery.
open?
Say again?
Is it the only one that's open?
That's the best of my knowledge, is
I
that
think
correct?
so.
Yeah, we believe it is. And she's offered to take that, and so I would entertain a motion to appoint her to that position.
I'll make a motion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any other further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. Thank you, Karen Ameden. You are now the sexton. I asked her why she liked to do these things, and she is really a history buff, and she likes that whole thing. So thankfully, we have somebody who will step up and help out. Number 6A is to reappoint the town health officer. We need to, by the end of the month, make a recommendation to, can I have that page back? What's your hands? Yeah. To Department of Health, state epidemiologist for the town health officer. We just got this letter last week, and we need to appoint it by the end of the week. I've asked, Andy's done such a great job ever since he's taken it on. I hate to see him go, but we should ask before we appoint anybody if that's something you're willing to do for another 3 years.
Well, I'd be willing to do it, but it's just that it seems that no one else has any knowledge of this being up for, the way they do this, no one knows about it until it comes up for a reappointment.
I was caught by surprise. I did not know
I
that.
thought I had another
I mean,
year.
that's the way it's,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? No, nobody
right,
else.
I mean, because that's the way it was done for 100 years, you know, it's like the same person kept taking it over and over, because nobody wanted it, but, we can.
No, I'd be willing to do it, but as long as no one else wants to. I mean, do people come in and ask you, Pam, about, is Andy done with the health officer commitment yet?
Unfortunately, no.
But everybody's happy with your job, doing good work.
I think it's worth pointing out again, let's reinforce it, at least by all of us, that you do a great job.
Right, right.
And every time I look for you, you're there, you're responsible, you get the job done, and so far you haven't made anybody angry enough to come back with sort of pitchforks and torches.
One would hope not.
One would hope.
Yeah.
No, I make a motion to reappoint Andy.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, thank you, sir, for your service.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
You can
And
have
and
the-
you and I get together, because there's some things that I have to sign and some numbers you have to give.
Okay.
Okay.
Well,
Um,
I
Thank you, sir. Now, in B, under 6B, there was another discussion we had, and it seems only fair that if we have somebody who's working for the town, doing those kinds of things, you ought not to have to incur the expense as well as the time loss. So we're talking about possibly having a line item.
Well, what we do is we take it out of the general fund. If the health officer has to travel somewhere, he gets paid mileage. If he has to buy those little containers for water or samples and send them out and postage and stuff like that, that's all taken care of by.
Right.
So it comes out of the general fund.
Right,
Expenses.
expenses, right.
I'm on a servers list,
Mhm.
and the question came up, how many towns have a line item? Like, I'm not looking for compensation, but a lot of towns have a dollar amount, like the select boards are compensated for. So the reason I mention it is, last year, I got jammed up on something up on Wyndham Hill. And I was up there 3 different mornings, or 3 half days. And then all the paperwork, hours on the phone with the landlord.
Right.
So, I'm not looking for, especially after I just got reappointed. I understand that expenses are paid for. I've gone to the seminars and workshops, but in the future, someone else they may take a little more interest if they have to take time off from work and go down and deal with something that takes half a day or a whole day.
That's a good point.
That's the only, when I asked you that, I didn't know you were gonna put it on the agenda.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was a
There's
good
no other
idea.
way to discuss it.
Right, we could do that when we do the budget.
When we do the budget, let's take that into consideration.
And like, if there was, say, there was
Just like
X
for the
amount of
constable.
money on
Yeah,
there, you wouldn't have to take it unless, you know.
sure. But still, you shouldn't have to be financially clobbered every time.
You may get subpoenaed in court as a witness,
Yeah.
you know.
If you start losing, and you start losing time on the
That's,
job.
I wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
The only reason I can't do it is because I'm flexible.
Yeah.
But last year was interesting on this one, and then it all just resolved itself
Yeah.
after many, many, many hours of
You must have done a good job.
really legal,
It resolves
there were
itself.
lawyers on both sides, and
We can take that.
Yeah, let's take a look at the budget time.
Like we do with the constable.
Yeah,
we
that's a
can
good
use the
idea.
budget for that, we can talk
Okay.
about that then.
So we'll table this until budget day
I
time.
just think that may scare off somebody from looking into the position,
Sure,
that's all.
gotcha. All right, we'll take a look at that in the budgets. Number 7, this one's gonna fall on me. Not representing the select board, but representing the fire department. There's been some recent training for our fire department personnel. It's brought to our attention the dangers that our fire people face when dealing with fires that involve solar panels. First of all, they can't be turned off. So if there's an electrical fire or something's going on involving that, the only way to turn them off is to cover them with something dark and black so the sun doesn't get to them, or any other light. So any electrical fires are complicated by that. Number 2, when they're burning themselves, when the solar panels are burning, they give off toxic chemicals, and they must be treated like hazardous material. I'm going to request that the citizens of Jamaica who have solar panels to contact the fire department and tell us what you have and where it's located, where those panels are located, so that we'll have some idea what we're getting into before we get there. If we need to take special equipment, if we have to call in extra help, we don't want to wait till we're there already. So if you have any, please let us know. Get in touch with the fire department, tell them what you have, where they're located, and that way we can be more prepared should we have to respond.
And I believe the fire department probably should send a letter out to all the homeowners.
We're in the process of trying to figure out how best to manage it. This is fairly recent training that's come up, brought to our attention, so we're in the process of incorporating that into a lot of different.
Right, but that's a fire department issue.
Yeah, but anyway, I'm just hopefully that the citizens who have those things will let us know so that we don't have any big surprises. Number 8, update on the progress on the Castle Hill Road Bridge project. Lou, before we start, the last time we met, I was pretty confident this wasn't going to happen. I have to tell you, I was really confident it wasn't gonna happen for a while, a couple of years maybe. Lou owns the success to getting us to this point.
So thank you.
Yeah, because he got in there and I'm shaking my head and he pulled it off, so thank you, sir, for all this. Your update, please.
Well, fortunately, we were able to get the right of ways, which is what you were.
Oh, no, just one right away, how many rights away?
3. We get the 3 right of ways. And the right of ways, as you know, is for the temporary, what I now call a driveway, because it's not really a road. It's just an access for the residents of Castle Hill so that they can get to their homes during the course of this construction. And also for the fire department, should any rescue vehicle or fire vehicle needs to get up into that area. After we got the right-of-ways signed, Keith and Richard, within 2 days, really pretty quickly, got that temporary road in. And it looks real good. When the project is over, that temporary road that's on the fire department will be brought back to as close to the current condition as it is. We are going to try to plant a tree to replace the one tree that we had to take down. Mostly a privacy thing. You know, the homeowners would like to see that tree replaced. Not with a tree of equal size, but one that will eventually grow to give them. The kind of tree was a cherry tree, so we'll try to replace it with a cherry tree. But anyways, that's going real well. We also been in discussions with Mike Renault, who is the principal of Renault Brothers. They do an awful lot of bridges in the state. And to my surprise, Mike has been very personally involved in this bridge. I was really shocked today when I went down there, and he was on the excavator, doing the excavating. It's kind of interesting to see the principal of a very large company. They do tons of bridges in the state. Actually, out there, it's probably one of these things he likes to do. When he gets a chance, he does it. But I did talk with Mike, and the bridge itself has been recast or been cast already. It's curing now, which is the reason why we hired Renault Brothers, because that bridge being precast will then save the curing time. So things are going well. They closed the road today. I saw a car parked at the fire department. We need to talk to the fire department and see if they're okay with that.
Do you know whose it is?
I had New York plates, but I don't know.
A couple of kayaks on it.
Couple of
Yeah, it might be
kayaks,
the people that, are they renting the old
Maybe they're
greenhouse?
renting, maybe, I don't know.
Oh, actually, it might be, and they're the one people who can't use their driveway
Yeah.
during this process because.
So it's probably the people from.
So
the
that would
house.
make sense. If it's them, then
Yeah, and where they were parked was fine.
if that's fine with the fire department.
I'm sure they weren't in the road, they weren't in the.
Yeah, that's right, because every other person can get to their
I'll
driveway.
email Dana and tonight when I get home, and I'm sure.
Okay, well, that's good to know. But the project is going to be on time, I think. He told me that their plans are to pour the footing for the abutments next week, and then do the abutments and the wing walls the week after, and then it's a week to cure, and then drop the cement bridge. It has to be done by the 3rd or 4th of October, because the guy who owns the crane that they plan on using is moving it out to another job on that day. So he's got to have there'll be a day or so of putting the guardrails up afterwards, but it's pretty much got to be done by then. So things going well.
Good, thank you very much. And once again, thanks for making it work.
Thank you.
The next thing, next update on the garage project.
Well,
Which of you two would like to do that?
Lou can do that one.
Okay.
we had a meeting last week with Cotton Associates, Cotton Velasquez is what they're called. And that meeting went well. They brought not a complete set of plans, but maybe a 90% complete set of plans. They've got a few more issues to work on, but we're going to, once we get the full set of plans, we're going to be sending them over to the State Flood Zone Administrator with a permit application, so we can try to get our flood zone permit in place. And so I think those plans look real good. Joel, you were there?
I was not.
Oh, you
I was
weren't?
in, I was in
No,
New
no.
York.
Oh,
No, nobody came to that meeting.
as soon as we get a copy in-house, we'll let you know, and you can take a look at them. They aren't ready, they aren't ready to give us a full set of copies to look at.
Thanks, sir. And the next update is for the transfer station situation, and we turn to Judy.
Okay. Well, it's affected by the closure of Castle Hill Road, and the transfer station is currently closed. And it closed today, and it will reopen on the 17th, Saturday the 17th. And it will be in its new site, which is the Masonic Hall parking lot. The refuge, or the revised schedule for the use of what's going there, there's going to be 2 bins. One will be for the garbage, for trash, and the second one will be for the plastic, and I'll get to that in a minute. But the revised schedule is Saturday, same as actually what we've had, 8 to 4, Sunday, 9 to 5, and Monday, 9 to 5. All of the other days, the transfer station at the temple or Masonic Lodge they will be working those 3 days. All the other days are closed, and of course it's closed up the hill because of not being able to travel over no bridge. And what will be received is the trash, and which it has to be again in the green and yellow bags. And the single stream will be in the second bin, and that will hold paper, cans, bottles, and plastics. So those are the 2 types of recyclables that we will be collecting. During this 3-week period, there will be no brush or leaves, metal, electronics, or demolition, household products such as mattresses and chairs, etc. We will not be able to collect them. And interestingly, I was up there Saturday, and a lot of people, a lot of the carpenters, etc., were bringing in all of their demolition stuff to get rid of it before we closed. I noticed that my neighbor, actually, he has gotten a bin from another trash person in the area. So I don't know if other workmen are doing the same thing or not, but that's what's taking place. The new schedule and site, I have it for 3 weeks, and we're looking at it ending October the 3rd. In the newspaper article, which was in today's paper, said 4 weeks, but actually that doesn't end October the 3rd. So 3 weeks is when I have that. We're hoping that it will be finished by that time. Okay, there will be, and we will post when we're back in business again, up on Castle Hill Road, our normal schedule and place. One of the things that has occurred already is that we're experiencing some dumping in different places throughout the community. And that is an absolute no-no. And in fact, if people are doing that because of the change of schedule and because of the difference of site, the sheriff has been alerted, and we will be searching through the materials, etc. And a fine will most likely be given to anyone who does that kind of thing. And we've already had that. We had it out at the door. Was that yesterday morning? They dumped it off Sunday morning? Yeah.
Sunday morning, even though it was open Sunday?
Yeah, right. And it was open Sunday too. And it was in pay bags too. So most of it, I guess, was paid.
Yeah, it was all through payback
Yeah.
agreement.
So, those are the new rules, and I want to say special thanks to all of the residents of Jamaica for really cooperating. One of the things that happens when we have to change something that is so directly important to the welfare of the community and the people, it takes a lot to make those changes, and we have made some pretty drastic changes. And most people are really dealing well with it, and I really appreciate that. So special thank you to everyone for really working and giving us some ideas of what we should be doing. As a matter of fact, I got a phone call just before I came from Greg Soshin. Totally blew this one off. What do I do with my garbage with the school? And so I'm going to be working on that tomorrow to try to figure out something. Because he has, trash every day of the week. So, special thank you, and the article was in the paper. You contributed a lot of the details about what was happening with the bridge and how grants and so forth, and I called our friend Chris and got him started on that. So it was a nice article. I don't know if anybody saw that
Yeah,
article.
yeah,
Did you see it?
But not yet, I'll look at it tomorrow.
It is.
Yeah.
So I think I have covered pretty much everything.
Okay.
If anybody has questions, call Pam, or they can call me too.
Two things. One is if anybody does have any bulky waste that they want to get rid of, they can bring it to either Brattleboro, there are two places
Oh,
in
that's
Brattleboro. And they can bring it, either they can bring it to the Wyndham Solid Waste District or to Triple T, look directly. The second thing is if they have any electronics that they want to get rid of, they can go to Win Hall and dispose of them in Win
Yeah.
Hall.
I know Mark had asked me, but he wanted to carry it in his truck, and I said, no, let's just not do any of that.
Yeah.
It's too complicated. So those are good
But
ideas.
Win Hall is an electronics.
Good.
Good, thank you very much. Thank you. Any other questions for her?
The garbage bin, does that take off on Monday? Does it disappear on Tuesday or?
Yes, it disappears Tuesday morning. What they're doing is they're bringing them in on Friday afternoon, and then they're open Saturday, Sunday, Monday,
Okay,
and then they pick them up,
both of them?
both of them.
Oh,
So there will be nothing on the grounds, and we'll have signs there. The sign that Mark got about surveillance and that kind of thing is going to be placed, and it will be marked off and that kind of thing. So there will be nothing there for the Masonic Lodge to have to deal with on those other days. It's just the weekend. So they've been extremely cooperative.
Oh, they have
Really,
routinely stepped up.
Great thing.
They're
that they
wonderful
are
citizens,
doing.
yeah.
Yes, and basically, when I was with them on Sunday, kind of looking at where the things were going to go, I said, we really appreciate it. He said, well, that's part of who we are as an organization, is really to help people. And I said, well, you're doing it. So.
Now, Keith asked me a couple of weeks ago about buying cones in general for the town garage. He's been wanting to buy 20
Yeah,
cones.
really.
So I suggested that he buy them immediately
And
so
then-
we could have them available to use here. So those cones just came in, I guess they're sitting in your office, so
Okay, and
we'll get
I
those.
have the tarps to go on top, so I'll be collecting. If you have some bungee cords, I have some.
I got a few, yeah.
Do you? Okay. So we will be covering them according to the law that we have to do for rainwater and that kind of thing. For the 3 nights that they're going to be there. Okay.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Next item is time for public concerns. We have some public. Do you have some concerns?
I'd like to have a conversation about the town website.
Okay.
I have a feeling that I'm ignorant about why it is like it is, but I'm disappointed that it is like it is.
What is it that
I know that Judy had a flyer notifying the town that there was going to be a closing. It's not on the website. There was no information about the garage committee meeting was Tuesday. That wasn't on the website.
That was up because, and yeah, someone else brought that up, that they heard from you that it wasn't on there, but I had put it up, it was off the next day, the day after the meeting, but
Off the next day. Off the
the
website.
announcement was off the next day, but Lou made sure he got the agenda to me and I got it up.
And I
Days
looked on-
before.
I looked on the website itself and it was on.
Yeah, I took it off the next day, I updated and, you know, meetings after they happen, I take
Okay,
down.
and the minutes of the meeting are not on the website?
Yeah, I have not, I think I received those today, so they'll go up in the morning.
And they don't have to go on the website for about a week.
Yep, 5 to 7 days.
5 business days.
Well, I wasn't
They changed
around,
that.
I wasn't in
They
town
changed that.
last weekend, so I don't know whether it was on the website or not.
Yeah,
But,
It's business days, I think.
No, I think they changed it to 7.
my concern is that there are things, information that the town should know, the people should know, that doesn't get transmitted in one fashion or another. And I think it's the website that I think should have all this information. You know, Judy's flyer shouldn't be on Karen's Facebook page, it should be on the website.
Well, we did have it we have it inside the post office because we can't put it on the outside, so.
Well,
If the post office
that's
is
another
closed.
little quirk that I have. I have a mailbox. I don't go to the post office. There are a lot of people in town who don't go to the post office.
And that's one of the reasons we use the transfer station, because the transfer station is a place where most people.
That's true,
Right.
but it's closed.
And for these 3 weeks, April.
But he's had the flyers the last full week, so Mark's been handing out those flyers.
Yes, he has.
I tried to put everything on the website, but I'm sorry that got spaced. For some reason, that did not go on the website, and I'm realizing now
So-
that was my mistake. But it was on the Jamaica Facebook, and it was at, different places throughout town, and we do the best we can. Sorry.
Well,
Talking.
I did a little research today and went to the Londonderry website, the Winhall website, the Townsend website. I found something very interesting in the Londonderry website. So it was a little blurb. The town continues to assemble an email contact list of Londonderry residents and property owners that is being used to send important, time-sensitive, and emergency information to those on the list, etc. And you could sign up.
I was actually talking to someone today about starting to collect email addresses. I'll try to figure out a way that I can do that, and I would love to be able to send people emails and announcements. It's just a matter of collecting all of them, if that would be okay.
I think it's a good idea.
I do too.
How do we go about collecting them? I mean, we can get them from a lot of people.
You gotta put it on the website.
I'm assuming that people do it on the
Yeah,
website.
I mean, it'll be a process to get them all, but I'll just keep adding them as I get them, and then we've also discussed with some people have suggested we do a postcard when something big like this happens, and either send it to the voter registration list or try to get a good list from the grand list of. I mean, it's hard because there's so many second homeowners and land only properties, so I don't know if you'd go off the voter registration or the actual grand list.
Probably the grand list.
There's actually been some discussion about a townwide database. And the reason for that discussion was, if you recall, during the post-Irene period on that Thursday, we had a flash flood warning up in the Rossville area. And the way people were able to get numbers was to go to the dump list. So it looks like the dump list might be a good basis
Yeah.
for a town-wide, a good starting point, because most people are on the dump list. So maybe we ought to also, as part of that, consider a town-wide database with telephone numbers that
phone number and
in
email.
case there is even worse than a flat, you know, a situation where we need to get somebody immediately.
Right. What do they call that, reverse 911?
I don't think that always works very well.
Oh, okay.
But,
Because I know that you hear that on
Yeah.
the radio or the television, that
So,
the town is sent out.
you know, I have to admit that I'm kind of ignorant about the problems of creating this website that is more efficient and more inclusive.
Well,
And I'm sure that this is, I'm sure this is not the first time we've had this discussion, but it's me that wants some information about what the problems have been, et cetera. For example, the other aspect of this thing, I don't know whether it's valid or not, but there's no mention of the Historical Society on the website.
They have their own website.
I'm sorry?
They have their own website.
Yeah, but if you go to some of the other town websites to do a little research, you will see that there's a list of
Links to
links to other websites, but there's at least a mention of something like the Jamaica Park and a link to that, and the Historical Society and a link to that. I think the website has to be enhanced and expanded.
I think we realized that when we put it back up. We got it back up as quickly as we could using the old website, and I agree with you, it does have to be enhanced, but it does take time to do that. I mean, somebody's got to, be responsible.
Well, who runs the website?
I do.
Right now.
So I'm new, and with all these revotes that we have going
Plus she's
on,
got
and
her
all these
town-
petitions everyone's
It's
doing,
an
it's
added
kind of,
duty, that adding all those
it's a lot of work, and
email
it's,
addresses.
yeah, it's,
1,100 or.
and I'm not a web developer, so I'm doing the best I can at this point, but it's good to hear suggestions because I need to know what people want on there, and I'll figure out how to do it.
Well, I don't know whether it's a group thing, but I did a little research, I think you should too, and take a look at Londonderry and the various different towns.
I've looked at all their websites.
And they're much more expansive than what we have.
Yeah. And I wish I had one of those easy buttons to make ours look like that, but it's gonna take time.
I mean, it takes time. She's town clerk, so she's got her town clerk duties.
And she's the assistant treasurer.
And to be honest, she's learned whatever she's learned from me, and I've learned from whatever I've learned from trial and error. So,
Well, let's get trial and error in here to improve it.
Or
I agree.
volunteers who may have the time to do the research.
we don't have
Yeah, if anyone-
anybody professionally trained to do
Yeah, we
that, so
have
they
a
do have.
webmaster as such.
Pam, do you think some of those other sites were set up by a hired out?
Oh, I'm
web-
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think if we.
There's gotta be a high school kid in town who can do this.
Well, those
Come
websites are,
Quick,
Give us a little credit.
they're complicated and.
Yeah, they're very
I've looked into it, it's kind of an expense, but
Yeah.
for a municipality.
If there was someone willing to volunteer time who knows this kind of stuff, just to get us set up and show me how to manage it, you know.
Joomla is the tool that we use.
Mm.
I might be able to get somebody. Let me check.
Okay.
I'm not positive, but
If they ask, Joomla is the tool that we use.
what is it?
Joomla,
LA.
Joomla.
Okay.
And if you ask them and they never heard of it before, maybe they're the wrong people.
Or maybe it's time we change
Maybe
our.
we're the wrong
Maybe
people.
we
Yeah, that's
Joomla
true.
is pretty well used in this area.
Okay, let me check with this
Colleges.
person. I mean, he is more than up to date on all this.
Who put the website up? I mean, did
Originally
you
it was
get
put
a
up-
webmaster or somebody?
Originally it was put up about 6 or so years ago, I think by Oliver Olson.
Oliver did it, yes.
And then it went dormant for a number of years. I took it and I upgraded it from Joomla 1.5 to Joomla 3.5. And
Was that a web development site?
Joomla is a web development tool, and they have different versions of it. 1.5 is what the original one was, and it had a lot of security issues, so we upgraded to 3.5. But that's the extent that we've taken it.
Well, I'd like to make the suggestion that you guys get together and create a wish list of what you'd like to see on the site, and develop it from that point.
I think
To
somebody coming from you too
me,
also.
it's a committee meeting that sits, you sit down and you say,
Right, but we need input from you too.
I just gave it to you.
Okay, but if you could write it down and send it to us, or, you know,
An email, or post it to the webpage.
or email it to Pam, all the concerns like that, and maybe working together we can do something, I don't know.
It may not be a bad idea to maybe have Pam go to some workshops to learn how to use the tool better. Because what I've taught Pam is very much the basics. And
that's why it looks so basic.
And she and I have kind of been playing around with making things work, because they don't work the first time, they tend not to work the first time. So it might be a good idea to send her to some training.
There's a positive attitude. I like that.
Because it's not an easy tool to use.
No, it takes 15 minutes for me to put one link on of one agenda. So you can imagine if I had to update every day.
Yeah,
So
but-
I don't know if there's an easier way to do it or an easier program, or if we're, I don't know what. So it would be nice to learn.
I would suggest though that, given the election schedule she's had to contend with this year, every time we turn around, there's another election. She's not done, got one tomorrow, got another one in November. And she may not be able to get that time free until maybe after the first year to be able to put that, because she's got a full,
Well, then I
she's
have
got
to
a full
make the town
schedule.
report.
What's that? Oh, this is making the town report. When do you do with all your spare time? But it's a legitimate point. We just have to figure out how to marshal the resources to make that happen.
Call up Leland Gray and find a kid.
Apparently, we have some expertise
Internship?
right here.
No, that's not my expertise. My expertise is being a pain in the ass.
I wonder if
Everyone
we
has
could
their
though,
purpose.
get like an
Let me
intern.
check with somebody.
Like, could we, the town, have an intern? You know, kids in high school need internships. They need to come work
Yeah,
somewhere. Could we host an internship?
Let me check with this fellow first, though.
Or
Yeah.
even community college, when
Yeah.
you're talking internship.
Yeah, and I think but you're right about the secondary school, the Leland Gray, everybody has to do a community
Yeah,
project.
and it's not, you know, at a college, they might need more time and more work. At the high school, I think it's like one day a week. They need to go somewhere and work.
Well, it might be more that we need than one.
There was an article in Sunday's Times called, the gist of the article was reverse mentoring, where older people go to younger people to
Yeah,
learn what
that's
they
true.
know.
I do, I have that. Where my sons teach me how to do simple things on the computer. 'Cause it's
All right,
just
so
not
that's a
fun.
good suggestion. I think you started some conversations. We can take a look at it. I want to just speak to her limitations because we keep her pretty busy. But that's certainly something to consider when things quiet down a little bit.
Well, I'll
And we
tell you,
certainly have plenty of time.
I'll tell you one thing, that would have been what he's suggesting, a major, major help in getting the word out around the transfer station issue. And as I said earlier, this is a basic need for every family. And when you start dealing with that, you're dealing with a lot of very basic issues. So it would have been nice to stick it on and let people
Well,
find it that way.
We didn't really have the date. I mean, this
No,
thing moved
No,
along
But we
really
couldn't
fast.
put it on, but I couldn't get, I've got these flyers out all over the place, but it's hard to get it into people's hands. I've been up at the transfer station on Saturday. I was there several hours, just walking up to people and telling them, and Mark has been doing the same thing, so. And I'm sure things like that's gonna happen again, another Irene or whatever.
Let's not go to another Irene.
Okay, let's go to the next.
All right, so, okay, thank you. That's a good idea. I think you started a conversation and we intend to continue it. Any other? Joel too? Joel squared, or however you guys work this out.
Joel Star.
Ah, that's Joel, point one.
I thought that was Joel too.
You got your picture on the cover.
I'm Joel also.
11.5, you had a question about the purchasing policy.
Yes, you had sent this out on April the 23rd.
This being for the audience.
For the board. Shall I read it?
Sure.
Okay. In order to maximize fiduciary transparency, effective immediately any motion or procedure that might result in the expenditure of town funds in excess of $500 will be warned and placed on the agenda prior to action. If any such action is anticipated, please submit the information to the chair before noon on Thursday before the select board meeting. In the future, the agenda item titled "Any Other Business" that comes before the board will not be used. Instead, any information or discussion items that a select board member would like to include in the meeting should be submitted to the chair before noon on the Thursday before the meeting, but may be added to the agenda at the start of the meeting under additions to the agenda, except as stated above. Please acknowledge. So I have questions about that. Basically around the town funding of $500 plus. And also I noticed on our minutes today, we all, on our thing, also the any other business is back on the
There's actually a funny story about why that's there, why it's number 13. If you really want to know why it's written down, I can explain it to you, or we can continue with the topic.
well, it's in both.
It happened by a complete accident of computer.
Okay.
Our expertise. My
What happened by accident?
I made a mistake. I had deleted it. I made a mistake. I went back and deleted my error, and I put it back in. In the process, the computer re-fixed this and re-added it, and I didn't catch it.
Are you talking about any other business?
Yeah, number 13.
He has a template.
Yeah, but any other business should be on there.
Yes.
No, we're taking it off if you look at it.
No, it should be on there, but
Yes.
any other business.
That comes before the board.
But I mean, there are things like, for example, that's where we talk about our.
That's what we're used to, and now we're talking about getting that on the agenda.
If we're gonna spend money. But if all I'm gonna be doing is updating you on what's going on at Wyndham Solid Waste.
I would like to see all of it up front so we can time things out, so we don't, I know we have an idea how to put it together. My idea is to have anything that we want to put on the agenda, and when I put that call for additions to the agenda. And that way we don't have these never-ending,
Okay, well, I've got a few things, for example, tonight, if you prefer, from now on, I will give them to you at,
If you can,
pardon?
Yeah.
if you can, by
That's
Thursday.
Yeah. Well, I understand why you wanna do it for monetary things.
No, I understand that too.
well, that I'm asking for a week in advance so we can all get it.
Yeah,
If you bring something tonight that's got monetary involvement,
yeah, these go,
wherever you put it, it's not fair to the citizens because they don't have a chance to see it on the agenda before we get to here.
agreed.
So that I want to have by Thursday, so I can get it on the agenda and get it published in time for the meeting. That was the impetus for this, was to make sure that any expenditures are presented on the agenda for the citizens to take a look at before Monday night's meeting.
Okay, one of my questions though, where I need explanation, is that expenditure of town funds in excess of $500 will be warned and placed on the agenda prior. It would, that there had to be phone calls and things like that. Where it had to be, we would have to get a certain number of phone calls and things. I thought that the number that we were dealing with of anything under 10,000.
Right, we'd have to change all that.
Yeah, we have
Sure,
to
what
change.
has to change?
Well, if we didn't have to warn that or whatever you wanted to do before, that would be a change in that policy.
Yes, it
The,
will
the,
be.
No,
the-
but for
the policy,
example,
the
let's say
purchase
that-
policy hasn't changed at all. What I'm doing is I'm formalizing how we manage the already in place policy, which is the citizens ought to have a chance to, if we're gonna spend that kind of money, they ought, unless it's an emergency, as you say, we ought to let people know we're about to spend $1,000 for something.
Yeah, I think
We
what,
still have to do that, we still have to ask for 3, use the number 3. Checks, I mean, let's find out what 3 bids look like. We don't necessarily have to go formal bidding.
Well, then that's changing that policy then.
Yes, it
Actually,
is
yes.
changing that policy, because, for example, I was thinking, if Keith has a tire that goes out
well, I was
on
gonna
one of
bring
his
that up.
trucks.
There are certain things that we do as the normal course of business.
Uh-huh,
Things like buying sand. We spend $50,000 a year in sand.
right.
That's submitted in the budget. That doesn't, we do not have to have a meeting to spend a bunch of
My
money.
point is that things like this, which are part of doing business, I don't think we do need to bring in front of the board. The things that we're talking about are not part of our normal process of doing business.
Well, here's my thought. I don't have it with me
Is
because
$500?
nobody told me we're gonna be talking about this tonight, so I'll have to.
Well, if it's between 5 and 10,000, then you'd still have, before you put it on the agenda, you'd want to get your 3 bids.
Before anything over 500, that's not normal.
That is the policy.
Right, so before you put it on the agenda, you'd want to have the, I think that's what you're saying.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just follow the policy. And we hadn't needed it until last session when we spent $8,000 without letting the citizens know about it. So now we're trying to make sure that everybody who reads the agenda knows what's going to happen.
No, that number I had given the previous meeting, that was not the first time.
It's not on the agenda. I'm just saying as an example where we spent the money without putting it on the agenda.
I
And we
agree.
did not get the 3 bids. We proceeded anyway. And so I'm just trying to clean it up so that we do it as best we can to adhere to the policy.
You did get a second bid that I'm aware
And who was that?
of. Drew
Who?
Heselton.
He gave us a second
He
bid?
did.
He didn't give me, do you have a second
He
bid?
sent you an email.
He did not send me an email about a second bid.
I was sitting there when he sent it, so you may not have gotten it, but I know.
Who did he send it to?
To you,
From Drew?
from Drew Heselton.
Drew asked if we were accepting any bids on the project.
Right.
By that time, we had already moved on the project. So I didn't get a second bid. I got a question if we were accepting second bids from Drew.
Which is pertinent to this discussion.
It's very much pertinent because it occurred before we did the second bid, 3 bid thing. And it demonstrates that there were other choices
Right,
besides the one choice that we made.
right.
So it supports my position that we need to do this a little bit more in line with our policies.
Right,
We agree?
we agree.
Somebody click that, we have to remember that. I want video of this. Okay, so, does that clarify it? Okay, good, thanks.
Okay.
Any other questions on the purchasing policy?
Well,
Now, without the policy there, that Pam read the exception, and whatever she read
Right,
swayed me to go along with the purchase.
and she did
Yeah.
read
And we
that.
don't have,
Well, I can go, if we
I
want to take
don't
on
wanna
the
waste your time going.
But in
digging that
fact, that was a portion of it. But the policy still states, in an emergency situation, in this particular case, the chair of the select board can decide to go forward without it. In this particular case, the chair of the select board did not decide to go forward without it. That's the way the purchase policy reads. And it was a little convoluted and,
Very convoluted.
I think we need, if you are able to find that, I would like to read it. I think all of us would really like to look at that.
that is
I make a
Purchase
motion,
policy?
I will give
You
you
want
a,
me to go get it?
no, we're not gonna take any more time up tonight doing that. I will make sure that everybody has a copy of the current purchasing, everybody here, not everybody. Everybody at the table will get a current copy of the purchasing policy before this week is over. They will be
on
in
the
our
website.
file. What?
Could be on the website.
There you go.
There you go. Would you put it on our website for us? This is not a new policy, this is a policy we've had for a long, long time. So the fact that it's being treated as a new policy, this is merely an exercise in doing the policy the way it's written. But I'll get you all that. I don't want to rehash the policy. If we want to, at some point, change the policy, then we will have a committee meeting and we will change the policy. But as it stands, I would like to see us adhere to the policy we have voted on in the past. If there's a paragraph that's confusing, we'll clear it up.
Well, the other point that I was bringing up was any other business that comes before the board. I think that's a requirement in Robert rules. Am I right about that?
That I don't know, because we do offer public concerns, that's an opportunity for the public to get something
Yeah,
on the
but for
agenda.
us.
It's been, if you can find a Robert's rules, please bring it to us. I will then examine how applicable it is to these proceedings and add it or change it in accordance with those rules. Okay. But since we don't have them here, this is just beating a dead horse, but bring it to me and I'll look at it.
No, I would like the
Why?
chair to find that.
Good luck.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with what I've been working on right now. And this is the way it was before I picked it up before I took the job. I'm now trying to move it forward so we know what's going on in the evening. We're not gonna be doing what we're doing right now for hours and hours after. The meeting's pretty much wrapped up.
Okay, let's go to the next thing.
Moving on to the next one. The only other thing that's important is that we will not have a meeting on October 10th. It's a 3-day holiday. And so we will have one meeting in October, and
Put that on
Do we
website
have to
too.
vote on that or not?
Let me see. I have an item that may be necessary to deal with on that date.
on the 10th?
Yes. Or we could have it on the 11th.
No, we can call a special meeting for it. Part of the difficulty is when Velasco called, sent me an email asking about that. We kind of hashed around the office to see if there was anything pending. And obviously didn't call everybody, but at the time she needed an answer for their, and I thought that was a reasonable request.
Thinking that we were going to have other business, I was going to bring that up during other business. So I will let you know what that is when we get to other business.
Okay, let's do other business.
Okay. Wyndham Solid Waste is dealing with their budget right now. It looks like there may be a significant increase in that budget.
God bless you.
It also looks like we may be, we have an alternate budget that we're working on, which is going to remove the recycling which would remove the recycling as part of what Wyndham Solid Waste does, and therefore our assessment might be a lot less. But even so, that might be more than what we're interested in spending. So there's a possibility that we may want to consider leaving Wyndham Solid Waste District. If we want to do that, we have to submit a letter to them by October 31st. That's the reason why this October 10th date might be important. Because if we decide to do that, they need to be informed by the governing body of the town by the 31st of October, and then we need to go to another townwide election.
Yeah, right. Come on.
When will they make a decision?
Pardon me?
When will they make the decision?
We're working on the budget now, and they're gonna be voting on it on their October meeting, which is the Thursday before that 10th. No, it's the Thursday after that.
The 10th is a Tuesday, the Thursday before that is the first Thursday of the month.
What's the second Thursday of the month?
The
Whatever
second
it is.
Thursday of the month is the 13th.
The 13th, so maybe if we wanted to do that, we might want to consider a special meeting on the following Monday.
The 17th?
Maybe that would be a better date to consider that than the 10th.
Are you able to speak to that, what that means now? I mean, in leaving, for example, if we, the election tomorrow, if we choose to go, we still have to pay off the bond issue. Is there anything like that that we would have to continue with?
Right now, there is no outstanding debt in the district.
Okay.
The only thing that is a question mark is possibly contributing to workman's comp, because workman's comp is something that you accrue over the past of what's been going on in the past. So we may have a little commitment there to deal with, but we're not sure about that. We'll have that look into legally. But, so there is no financial impact other than the potential impact.
And is the process similar to the school situation?
What?
Is the process similar to the school situation of leaving the district?
Leaving the district is,
Where it has to be voted by the other municipalities?
no.
Okay.
If you choose, like Winhall, for example, has chosen to leave the district.
Yeah, I know that
And
they
they
were working
submitted
on
their letter to the district, and they've already had their townwide vote.
that. Mhm.
The question is, do we want to follow suit? And if we do, that's why I can't really speak too much to it, because I want to wait for this budget meeting to be complete. And then if that's the case, then I will bring to you a full description of what needs to happen.
Do you think it's necessary to tentatively schedule a special select board meeting for the 17th, or do you think we can set that up as you find the information?
I think it's probably worth scheduling a meeting, because I won't really know until the 13th, which is
Thursday.
the day we like to warn our meetings.
So we should set up a meeting, special meeting on the 17th.
And then we can always cancel it if it turns out we decide that we don't want to pursue it, or we can just have it and discuss it anyways.
That's the truth. You have a
That's
problem?
fine, that's fine.
Andy,
I don't care.
do you have anything?
No,
Because I'm not sure what everybody else's schedule is, because they shoot with an off schedule.
it would be okay with me.
I don't want to leave it to the last meeting of.
No, I understand,
It's getting too close to the 31st.
If we decide to make a move.
All right, so we will warn that as a special meeting for the 17th, not a regular select board meeting,
Right.
just a special meeting for the 17th. Which we will warn in the usual fashion.
Gonna put it on the website.
It's
I
the
already have
website's
a
up and
note
running.
right here.
Agendas for all meetings go on the website. We haven't, I don't think we've,
Yeah,
messed
we're
up
pretty
on
good
that.
about that, huh?
Good, good.
Yeah.
That's a Thursday.
No,
Monday.
No, it's a regular Monday, 17th.
Thursday is when the district is meeting.
Okay,
Now, another item under open business. I mean, as I said, I saw this other business and I
Yeah, that-
assumed that we were doing it this way, but
well,
in the future, I will add it to additions.
when I find a mistake. I will
Sometimes
correct
we think of something as things are
Yeah.
going
it.
on.
And that's okay, but if we have something that, never mind. I will make sure this is really clear.
Okay.
Next time.
I will also be bringing you very soon a contract for us to consider regarding solar at the Wyndham Solid Waste District. Remember, we had a meeting about a year ago. That's proceeding now. We had a meeting last week with the developers. A lot of administrative assistants, town managers, and select board members from different towns attended that meeting. We have a contract to be looked at. I'm going to pass it on to Paul Gillies and have him look at it. This contract has been vetted by a lot of other lawyers prior to this, so it shouldn't be a problem. We either have to accept the contract the way it is, or we don't accept the contract. We can't negotiate a contract, because they want to use the same contract with all the different towns. They don't want to be, the developer doesn't want to be negotiating separate contracts with each town. So that contract is ready to be looked at, and at the next meeting, in fact, if you want to put it on the same meeting, this meeting the 17th, we can talk about that project as well. We need to make a decision on that by the end of November.
There was quite an article in the newspaper about it, I guess Friday or Saturday of this week, last week.
I have a question. Do you
Sure.
have to be part of the district to take advantage of this solar? So if
You-
you choose to leave, do you not get it anymore?
Well, first of all, the decision needs to be made by November 30th, and we will be a member of the district until June 30th if we choose to leave.
Okay.
So we would still be a member of the district until that time. District members have first priority, but then anybody else can afterwards. And municipalities that are not part of the district would have the second. School districts would also be considered. But we would still be a member of the district until June 30th, even if we chose to leave it.
And you can't speak to any of the details of the contract, or like they were talking about before,
I can, but
that
I'm not prepared to do that tonight.
perhaps it would be a 33%
Approximately.
discount to the municipalities.
Right.
Any buildings in Jamaica's.
Right. Unfortunately, it doesn't apply to street lighting, but
Right.
it would be nice.
So that's about the same as what we heard.
Almost exactly the same.
Right.
In fact, it is the same because it's the same, it's under the same lease that we negotiated a year and a half ago. So it's the very same offer value. So I'll present that to you on the 17th.
So what we'll do then is, the, whatever appropriate date, I will warn a meeting that will have 2 items on the agenda.
Both
These
related,
2 items.
both related to Wyndham Solid Waste District.
And then you and I can get together on the exact wording for the warning, but it won't be for the usual kinds of stuff, it'll just be for that specific issue.
That's right.
All right, we can do that. Anything else? Any other business that's coming before the board, besides my inadequate computer skills?
What's happening with the swap shop, is we're waiting basically now for the project of the bridge to be finished before we move forward on that. And I'm in the process of trying to line up enough contracts and things like that for electricity and gravel and all of that. Okay.
Any other business?
I do have one thing. Last time a gentleman was here regarding Gerbyville Road and the speed on it, I did talk to the deputy. He came and he sat approximately an hour near Gerbyville Road, or on Gerbyville Road, I don't know exactly, midday, and he said that he encountered about 5 cars. If we wanted more extensive research, they could do it, and that would come off of our contract. But right now, that's what it was, so.
Over how many hours?
He just stayed there an hour,
So an hour, 5 cars?
5 cars.
What hour of the day did he remind you?
Midday.
What day of the week?
I don't remember what he said. I don't even know if I asked him. It was during the week, but I don't know what day.
Do they have a, one of those?
If we
Track
want something,
counters?
they do have something. They have to get it from Wyndham Regional.
Oh, maybe it's better just to directly go to the regional one.
And so I have to get back to him to see what we want to do. If we want to maybe, if he can, if it's available, he said we can use it.
But it seems to me that this kid, this young man, is concerned about his children. And now we're going into a school year, and there's probably multiple reasons why weekend traffic would be higher than weekday traffic, including going to the campsite and second homeowners. And I wonder if it shouldn't be counted
Weekends
like
rather
a
than
weekend rather than a weekday.
We'll see. I'll check with him and see.
Yeah, that's why the traffic count would be nice, you could put it there
We
without
get a
having to
traffic
have
count.
somebody sitting there.
Right.
And then bear in mind, not to be sound against this, it's like one citizen is asking for all this.
Right.
Not that it's not warranted, but.
Kids aren't supposed to play on the road anyway.
It's just one
We
person.
did ask him to try to poll the other members of his community.
Right.
And I don't see him here tonight for the first time in about a month and a half.
Yeah, I think the best thing is,
That's what it is.
I think the best thing is to get the traffic count if we can, and then we're dealing with some concrete facts.
That, and I'd like to know how much that comes off our contract to do that.
The counter, it wouldn't, because it's on the ground.
For them to do that survey, to count cars, just, it'd be
That
like
way,
them patrolling.
patrol, right, it took whatever the hour was out of our,
That would have to be, yeah, because I've got to count it.
but the counter is
Right.
different.
You said Wyndham Regional has that sort of?
I think that's what he told me.
All right, let's check with those guys.
No, I'm gonna check with him, and he's gotta make arrangements with them.
Oh,
We
he
can't-
goes to
We
Wyndham.
can't call for it,
Ah.
they have to call for it.
You know, you may have a valid point about the one person, but then again, you can drive through the state of Vermont, and once in a while you'll see a sign that says blind person, or whatever, and that's only one person as well.
It's true.
Right, I mean, we're working.
We're not gonna hire a blind person.
I don't think that's what he meant.
We have
I
to
don't think
get
it's-
three
I think he was just making a joke.
I think we could. I hear what you're saying, that's different, we're not controlling the whole speed of the whole road, but you're right, there are
Oh,
lots of things.
you're playing Abbott and Costello here?
We have to practice more, we're
No.
out of practice.
I mean, we will continue to pursue this request from this person,
We'll take a look at it, we're not ignoring it.
so. if there's- Make a motion to adjourn?
Well, we have an executive session
Oh,
coming up.
yes,
with you,
sorry,
but
see,
wonder
I
if you
forgot,
do a
we've been
chance
here
to
too long.
Add to the agenda.
I don't think that had anything.
All right. It is my understanding that there will be nothing coming out of the executive session
That's
that
correct.
will require a vote so that, Rick, you don't have to hang around.
Do you need to move to?
So,
Yes.
who's going to
Yeah.
move to go to the executive agenda?
Okay.
Wait, we need a motion from
Lexa.
Me.
Lexa made it?
Motion that the board finds that the general public knowledge will place the municipality.
Is this for personal issues?
Yes.
So we don't need to
We
do
don't need to
that.
do that.
We only need to do that for contractual issues.
Okay, then I request that we enter executive session for the purpose of personnel issues.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Here a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
I,
All opposed, no. We're in adjournment until another 5 minutes, we can clear this gear up.
This should be.